I mentioned the Design Build Institute of America before, and they have a document called Design Build Done Right. You might take a look at it when you have time, but their preferred process for procurement is any of the following. They've spent a lot of time promoting progressive design build recently. They do have an interesting statement that low bid is not recommended. And that's because this association is interested in quality-based procurement, quality-based selection, and quality-based awards and contracts. But as far as federal highway is concerned, low bid is okay. We recognize that. It's part of our regulations in Part 636, and it's certainly acceptable. So it's, as Brian said, we start slow, we evolve, we move on. TDOT asked me to talk a little bit about one-step and two-step when it's appropriate and when it can be used. I mentioned federal highway prefers two-step, or what we call two-phase selection in Part 636. And that's where you have the first stage being selection based on qualifications, shortlisting process, shortlisting 3 to 5 firms. And then the second step, or second phase, being the RFP process, where you're selecting the successful firm based on their technical and price proposals. But one step can be successful if you have a very well-defined scope with limited final design requirements, and if you have a pre-qualified list of A&E firms where you're comfortable with, and if there's limited opportunity or need for quality incentives in the scope of the project. The advantage of one step is it's fairly quick. You're only looking, after you shortlist firms, you're selecting based on price, and it's assumed that the design builder is bringing a qualified designer with him that's already been pre-selected. The second, or two-step phase, is actually more efficient and a better fit for design build because it allows those quality factors to come in the shortlisting process and in the RFP process. So our preferred method is the two-phase selection process, but single step could be used under the right circumstances. And certain federal agencies, such as the post office, most of their postal facilities are pretty cookie cutter. They let out a standard design for a post office, and they have a list of pre-certified consultants that are working with the community, so they take advantage of one-step selection.